You ever wanted to try night photography? Turn back now before it's too late. My own addiction started 20 years ago, and it's cost me thousands of dollars in damages and lost sleep throughout the decades. Quit while you're ahead. You're still here. Okay then. If you're serious, then this book by Josh Dury, aka the Starman, called 52 Assignments of Night Photography, is a fire emoji, nay, double fire emoji place to start. I highly recommend buying his book. Before I even finished reading it, I was inspired to make some videos where I try the assignments, babble about why certain ones are so interesting to me, and go through the entire creation process with you. I may lose interest after 4 of these, but ideally I'll do all 52. The big finale will be going to Fairbanks, Alaska this winter to shoot the Aurora Borealis for 3 weeks straight. I already booked myself 4 cabins to stay in. Be sure to gouge the subscribe button's eye out with your finger and beat him over the head with a frying pan so you don't miss out on any of this very important series that you definitely care about. Let's dig a cartel tunnel under the border of knowledge and crawl right into it then, shall we? I decided to start with night photo assignment number 9. Shout out Ted Williams. The Lunar Alignment Assignment. It rhymes with giant excitement. So grab your tripod, headlamp, tactical mystery item, tactical cat, camera, and a long telephoto lens. I've got my new Sony 200 to 600 millimeter here, but the best lens is just the one you've got. Unless you're trying to use a 10mm wide-angle fisheye lens. Not gonna cut it. Josh's book recommends an ideal focal length of at least 400mm for this. My camera body is the A7 Mark III. Body is far less important than the glass out front in almost any photo shoot, but Sony sensors can't be beat for low-light performance. You'll see why soon. Yes, I am shilling for a $150 billion corporation for free. Give me money, Sony! Okay, now that we're geared up, let's get outside. I'm scanning the horizon for potential lunar alignments. What I'm looking for is something large and interesting with nothing but sky beyond, where I can frame the moon behind it and zoom in to make the moon look gigantic. I think my personal obsession with this began with storybooks as a kid. They always show the moon as unnaturally huge and alive. That's how it can feel with the right lunar alignment. When I'm driving and come around the curve and see a golden full moon peeking out from behind the trees just above the road, it makes my eyes bulge out of their sockets. I probably said, wow, look at the moon, about 44,217 times in my life, and most of them were not when it was high in the sky, and almost all of them were when nobody else was around, because I'm a rambling lunatic. The most famous lunar alignment is probably E.T., which I haven't seen yet, so no spoilers please. Do not write your favorite spoiler in the comments below. I would hate that so much.
I would hate it so much.
E.T.'s bicycle ride or whatever inspired Swiss photog Philip Schmidli to recreate it. It took months of effort and planning, dragging his friends along and hauling a bicycle and a ramp and lots of big camera gear up into the hills for several failed attempts month after month. You only get a few minutes per month to try this kind of shot, so if anything isn't perfect, it's all over. That kind of tedious attention to detail and timing and location is everything I love. You need extreme patience and there's almost zero room for error. But with great effort often comes great reward. Look at how beautiful that result was. Amazing. Another big lunar alignment moment that inspires me is the Sony Moonwalk video, which is really just the best advertisement I've ever seen. Renan Ozturk and Taylor Rees went out for failed month after failed month.
Everything's falling apart.
With a buddy free soloing a slack line in front of the moon. Free solo means no safety harness. If he slipped, he would die. Their joy in finally getting the shot is only understandable by those who have tried to get this kind of shot. Lunar alignments are, to me, the only way to get an interesting picture of the moon. When the moon is high in the sky, it's really hard to get a photo of it that I care about. Anyone can aim an expensive camera up into the sky at a full moon and get pictures that look like well, like every picture you've ever seen of the full moon. The more expensive the setup, the more craters you can count. But there's always someone who already did it better. Andrew McCarthy created Gigamoon, a 1.3 gigapixel, highly detailed photo of the moon made by stitching together 280,000 individual photographs. Even that monstrosity, at a glance, just looks like any other moon photo. No disrespect, I know he poured over the editing process for countless hours to bring all that together perfectly. I'm glad he wanted to do that and did it. It just doesn't do anything for me in the creative sense. Thinking up things to put in front of the moon really fires me up. I can scroll hashtags of these all day on Instagram. What's the opposite of doom scrolling? Moon scrolling? Hope scrolling? People get the moon with bald eagles and skyscrapers and statues and all kinds of beautiful and unique angles. I've come up with 6 different levels of lunar alignment. Your rankings may vary based on skill, gear, or environment. If you live a mile from an international airport, you have a million more chances than me to get an airplane across the equisized face of the moon. If you live in Europe, you have a million more chances to put a castle in front of the moon. California is severely lacking in the castle department. So, level 1 would just be a generic landscape in front of the moon. If you point the camera at a million trees or rocks or even a random city skyline, there's bound to be something cool right in front of the moon. Level 2 is a stationary building or object or specific tree that never moves so you can plan the moment for years. Here I got the Summit House on top of Pikes Peak, although the picture is so garbage you can't really tell what you're seeing. Here's the light of the Summit House from a farther distance, just for perspective. Here I got a windmill, or wind turbine, sorry. Here I almost got the moon at the ocean overlooking the local state park, but the clouds and morning light ruined it.
This one I ruined by moving the camera around.
Side note, I've gotten the sun alignment on this same overlook several times. Most recently, I got this lighthouse. I will show you in a second exactly how I managed to get this one. More photo and video from that night, a map, etc., the whole story. Wait, I have to explain these arbitrary levels I invented first. Level 3 is a moving but predictable object in front of the moon. I got this semi in front of the sun as a peak example, except it's the sun. I got people walking on this footbridge in my town. Ideally, I'd get a boat way out on the horizon. I've seen it happen 3 times. I didn't have a zoom lens on me in those times. Other ideas would be a train or a low-flying plane coming out of an airport in a regular location. I've gotten lots of sun alignments with people far away at the beach in Florida. These are my most treasured shots, which I took with a garbage $140 Optica 650 to 1300 millimeter lens. Level 4 is a mile-away selfie with the moon. I've gotten some much closer shots with it, but I've yet to truly attempt the real thing. I have plans to do this very soon now that I have the Photo Pills app. You only get one chance, as I don't have the capability of remote viewing my camera viewfinder from such a great distance. I suppose I could set up a phone next to the camera that's connected via the Bluetooth app, then be sharing that screen via 5G to another phone in my hand. It's possible for sure. I don't know if anyone's ever done this. It's a pretty difficult challenge that would be made pretty easy by just having a second person and walkie-talkies.
Walk 3 feet to your left. No, your other left.
Level 5 is a still predictable but uncommon object crossing the moon in flight. This would be a rocket, a hot air balloon, a blimp, or an airplane at cruising altitude. I got the airplane once on that optical lens. I was shooting the moon and saw the airplane coming from miles away. When it crossed the moon in my shot, I was unbelievably ecstatic. It doesn't even look like much to anyone else, but I loved it. Level 6 is an unpredictable object in front of the moon. For me, this is a bird. I've gotten a few okay bird moon shots, but I want that crisp pelican far out on the horizon. Or an owl, or a hawk, or an osprey. Really any bird, but especially a predator bird the size of the moon would be so sick to get in maximum sharpness with the moon correctly exposed behind. Bonus if they're holding a fish. I've gotten a few vague turkey vulture shots, but these are not comparable to what they could be with my new lens. Now that you know the levels of difficulty or possibility or rarity or whatever, on to the big lighthouse lunar alignment. Remember, this is only a level 2. The lighthouse doesn't move and the moon is predictable. Other lighthouses in other places would be much easier, but you'll see why this one was so hard. This shot manifested itself extremely quickly after getting my new lens. Here on the coast of Northern California, you're extremely limited in terms of zooming in on a tall structure far away. This is due to 3 things. One is weather. We have a lot of humidity, especially at night, and clouds or dense fog can often obstruct your view of anything more than a quarter mile away. Two, it's hard to get far away on the east-west axis from any subject while remaining at the same elevation. Going inland usually means going uphill around here. Just north of us, the King Range exceeds 4,000 feet above the sea, just 3 miles from the sea. And to the east of town is a 2,000-foot tall range. Crossing it to get to bigger towns is known as going over the hill. It's real fun in a log truck. But going uphill from your subject is trash when you want sky and moon behind you. The third reason we're limited with shooting tall structures is that we don't have a lot of tall structures in general. New construction is limited with rare cases of up to 45 feet only on the inland side of Highway 1. So, what's in the west and grandfathered in from before the height limit? Lighthouses! Lighthouses! I immediately began imagining how huge the moon could look next to a lighthouse. I knew the tallest lighthouse in California was my destination. There's tons of reasonably low land in the surrounding couple of miles around the 115-foot Point Arena lighthouse. There are only 33 lighthouses in the whole U.S. that are taller than this one, all on the East Coast, except for 2 in Michigan and 1 in Hawaii. That puts this lighthouse in the top 4.4%. The good news was the lighthouse is less than 50 miles from home. The bad news was that I knew nothing of this area and wanted a photo that night. So I manned up and finally shelled out the $11 for the Photo Pills app, which I knew would be critical in planning this on such short notice. I first went to this location south of the lighthouse. I knew it was too far, but thought maybe it would be close enough to get out and lock it in on foot. I was exploring the scene on Google Street View to see where exactly the lighthouse can be seen from. Upon getting there, I knew before even parking the truck that I was way too far south. I got out and checked Photo Pills. Yup, way off. I knew of this spot along the creek where I had glimpsed the lighthouse on my way in, so I raced back 3 miles to check Photo Pills from there. Now I had overshot in the other direction, which was good news. The ultimate location had to be somewhere halfway between these two sites. The downside was it appeared to be largely private property. Keyword appeared to be. As I drove back towards the first location again, I suddenly spied a closed road. Maybe that can get me over to the dunes, I thought. As I pulled in, I saw a beautiful sign. Trail open, it read. I parked and grabbed my gear and charged out of the car so fast that I forgot my water bottle. I had no idea how long this trail could be or where it would even take me. I knew it had to be better than my other 2 options, though. The moon was getting low enough to not be seen through the trees, so I sprinted. Soon, though, running would not be an option. The closed road turned into more of a deer trail and sometimes a slug trail. They even said it was a mud snail path. I crawled, I got poked in the face with sticks and thorns, I charged on full speed, which was not very fast at this point. I plodded through some mud and creeped around a sinkhole, saw the moon had vanished into dense dark clouds. Then suddenly the trail came to a dead end. Oh no! There was a wide creek or a small river in front of me with deep mud under it. I could easily cross it, I'm sure, but I didn't really want to find out how deep it gets. Then I turned my head to the west and yelled. There was the lighthouse, brilliantly lit in the black of night. And just above it, to the left, was a dark cloud that had something glowing behind it. The moon. The moon was in the absolutely most perfect place it could be. Well, except for not being behind the clouds. I could tell it was going to absolutely nail the lighthouse, and there appeared to be no clouds just around the lighthouse itself. I suddenly had the sickening realization that I had forgotten my tripod.
Oh, come on, man.
For a photo in total darkness.
Idiot!
I was not crawling through the woods again for a half hour, so I had to just deal with it. This is where that huge sensor in my A7 Mark III came in handy. It's ISO invariant, meaning I can crank my ISO to absolutely ridiculous levels. The 2 ranges of invariance are 100 to 500, and then 640 to 51,200. Yes, 51,200 ISO is essentially the same noise level as 640. As long as you can manage to expose the scene correctly in camera. And you can actually blast it up to 204,800 ISO if you want an absolutely trash photo. With my old Canon Rebel, the night would have ended without a photo. But due to the low light capabilities of this camera, I was able to shoot 100 images handheld in total darkness at a whopping 600mm zoom on a subject over a mile away and get some tack sharp images. While holding 2,765 grams of Sony Steady. That's like holding 8 cans of soup or 150 slices of bologna against your face, or 14 hamsters, or a 16th of a toilet, or 184 CDs, or 389.4 human eyeballs. Let me give it to you in more common measurements. Imagine cutting the heart of a blue whale into 144 equal pieces, then holding 2 of those pieces up to your face. That's how heavy this thing is. To be fair though, most of these 100 images were completely garbage. But the handful I nailed are treasures to me. I was so happy. I had gotten to this spot at about 5 o'clock. Barely made it in time. My first lighthouse photo was at 5:07, and by 5:34 it was all over. In those 27 precious first minutes of using my new lens, I got 100 photos, which means I was firing off a photo every 16 seconds. With a tripod, I could have had a time lapse of perfectly aligned and consistently sharp frames going at regular intervals. Am I sad about not bringing the tripod? Yeah. But the moon and the lighthouse still exist, so it just gives me another reason to trudge on through this miserable and exhausting existence we call life. I have to keep living, not just for a beautiful white cat who looks up to me, but also for this oddly specific photo that probably only I and 4 other people would care about. Could I have saved my money and not bought this stupidly expensive and fragile photo rig? Yeah. I would have so many dollars right now if I didn't buy that. But newsflash, you can't take it with you. Money does not make you happy, but spending it strategically can change everything. I struggled through some heavy depression for the last couple years, I think mostly because I didn't have a zoom lens for looking at the low-hanging moon up close. I've been stalking birds with this thing too, that's pretty fun. I have a million other plans for it, some of which will be coming later in this night photo challenge. I'll even lug it with me for my 3-week adventure in Alaska where I will see the moon stay up for 4 days straight.
Oh.
So anyway, if you haven't done so already, please be sure to gouge the subscribe button's eye out with your finger and beat him over the head with a frying pan so you don't miss out on this very important series that you definitely care about.